Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second set of guns for the American battleship Missouri, and these are pretty much identical to the guns that we reviewed yesterday in regards to Massachusetts, but it's a different ship, so it's still an option. So let's take a look to see what we have, and that's these guns. So we have an increased fire rate, so we get an additional 0.14 rounds per minute, and we have faster AP shells, but the shells don't weigh as much, and the armor piercing damage is limited a little bit by about 1200 damage. So exactly the same as Massachusetts. High explosive shells are not touched, so if you use Missouri as an HE spammer for whatever reason that may be, faster rate of fire will definitely work out for you. However, I mainly use armor piercing on Missouri because she is such a powerful battleship. She's literally one of the best battleships in the game, and it's amazing what she can do. So let's equip these guns and try her out today. Alright, near results of the game, we have a carrier, only 3 battleships, looks like 5 cruisers and 3 destroyers. So not as much HP on the enemy team as I might like to see. The ship is really good against other battleships, specifically weaker or broadside ones like other Iowas and Lions and ships like that. But we can still do quite a bit of damage on these cruisers as well. I do not have the radar module or radar equipped with her. I have the anti-air barrage, or at least the one that the battleships can have. It's not the same as the cruisers. It kind of scatters them. It doesn't exactly shoot them down any quicker, but it's still at least a little bit useful, especially in cases when there is a carrier in the game. Alright, so I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied, so do keep that in mind. And let's see what these guns can do. I did, like I said, have one game so far with these altered guns, and I wasn't exactly impressed by them. I've absolutely no problem using the original guns, and that's what I've actually gotten used to. And the newer guns just lack the power, it feels. Like I was shooting a broadsiding Iowa. I was getting a lot of pen damage, but there was no citadels at all. So I think it actually switches out the super heavy shells that the American 16-inch guns usually get, and just switches them out for normal armor-piercing shells. Which means they get to the target faster because they're not heavy, but when they hit the target, they just don't do as much damage. So it's a trade-off really on what your preferred playstyle is. I like to hit hard, honestly. Shell velocity, yes, faster is a bit easier, but if you get used to it and you know how to play it, then you will not have a problem at all. Alright, so let's see, what do we even have? A Frederick de Gross, an Iowa, a Missouri, a Worcester, Alaska, Fargo, Alaska, Takao, Agazuki, Utland, and a Tashkent. So the destroyers are not that dangerous, considering 2 out of 3 of them can be seen from the moon. And let's send our first salvo out. I do have her focused for accuracy, or at least in the module. I don't know if I have the cruise skill yet. But, yeah. She's still really good against cruisers. That's not going to change, no matter what gun she has, I feel. But against battleships, that's where you really see the difference. And hopefully I can get this shot, before the island here. And let's see what we can do. See, pens, over pens, a couple shatters. No citadel, and I feel like if I had the original guns, I would have been able to citadel that Missouri. Our secondaries are opening up a little bit on the destroyer in front of us. I do have the secondary cruise skill. I actually at one point had her focused for secondary build fully, but that was before Illinois came out. So I still have the skill, but just not the module, which is fine, because her secondaries are definitely not as good as Illinois. Alright, so let's see what we can do against this Taiho. I know that Takao is a lot closer to me, but it's not a good angle. I could probably punch through the bow armor, but I'd rather just see if I can work on the Taiho a bit too. 2 citadels, okay. Let's see, do I finish the Taiho or do I sink the Takao? Well, that answers that question. Let's put a seaplane up as well. And yep, still as good as always. Alright, but I always get myself over in this corner and then I have a hard time turning around without it taking forever and a day. So we're just gonna kind of leisurely make our way around again. Without even use the anti-aircraft scatter consumable that I can use, I was still able to shoot down 8 aircraft, which isn't technically a lot, but I wasn't focused by them either, or by focused by aircraft. Alright, so there's the Missouri again. Is there a better target? Because that's not really a good target. I guess we can send a few shells out towards this Frede de Gros. Once our guns come back around. Let's try it. So the little bit of added shell velocity, I don't really notice that. On paper it says they get to the target faster, but honestly it just feels like the only change is the damage that these shells do once they hit the target. And it's kind of disappointing, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of these guns, or at least I haven't found any points in regards to them that make that stand out like, oh my gosh, these are so much better. Or, okay, these are better, but at what cost? I only see negative aspects of these guns. I don't see anything that screams that any of these guns are better. In fact, they just seem worse to me. Alright, so let's send a few shells down towards Fargo. Not really expecting much. Yeah, 3 ricochets. Alright, so what else can we shoot at? Well, if the Missouri gives us a little bit more broadside. Actually, the Iowa back there is kind of asking for a little bit. Let's see what we can do against her. So Iowas and Missouris don't exactly have a strong broadside armor. It's like belt armor of 13 to 14 inches. That time I did get 2 citadels. So that worked out relatively well. Let's see, can we finish off this Missouri as well? With the Fargo's down, that's nice. We still have 1 turret left, but we're not going to need it on the Iowa. Or the Missouri. Alright, so yeah, you can easily still work over cruisers extremely easy. Aw, that's disappointing. It's just anything larger than that, you're going to have some trouble. Alright, so now we're in secondary range of a Frede de Gros. But we do have all 3 of our turrets loaded. And there is 3 of us over here, so we should be able to take her out relatively quickly. And I think I'm going to switch targets to this Iowa really quick, just to see if I can citadel her and finish her. Alright, so 3 citadels, almost 50,000 damage, but still no sinking. And there she goes. Alright, so let's see if we can finish off this Frede de Gros, and then the last cruiser in the back there, whatever that is. It's a Alaska. It looks like the one we focused on a little bit earlier. Or actually it might be another one. Okay, so yeah, there's 2 of them. So I think they're both sunk now. Alright, so yeah, the final verdict on these guns, I prefer the original ones. There's nothing that really stands out about these ones that makes it seem any better. And we had 285,000 damage, 2 ships were sunk, 89 shell hits, 10 aircraft shot down, 13 citadels, 2 fires, 1 capped base, 7 defended caps, and 79 secondary hits for over 10,500 base XP. 272,000 of that was an armor piercing, less than 3,000 from fires, and almost 10,000 in secondary battery. So, yeah, American secondaries may not be the best in the game, but if you know how or which ships to focus on, or at least buff a little bit, then you can do a little bit of damage with them. And in this game specifically, it was a pretty decent amount, especially with Missouri. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content. And join me tomorrow while we go over the newest British battlecruiser, Renown. And this is actually quite an interesting ship. So if you're interested in that, tune in tomorrow and we'll be going over her. Take care.